Hey guys, welcome to the Source Gaming Discussion. I am your host, Epic Martin 7, and today I am joined by special guest Nanobuds.
Hey guys.
And you might know him as he is a well-known Smash Wii U modder and former Project M development team staff member.
Yes, I am. I joined the PMDT back in the summer of 2012, I want to say. No, 2013, yes. 2013. And I was with them a little bit before 3.0 released, and I stayed with the team until the very end.
That takes a lot of encouragement, man. Maybe it must be hard saying hi to Gimmer once in a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. And today we're going to talk about basically how Switch modding would affect the modding scene of Super Smash Bros. For Wii U. So, of course, as a lot of people know, Super Smash Bros. For Wii U has a tremendous modding scene full of, great community members. There's tons of mods released every day on Game Banana. Some not so great mods sometimes appear, but you just gotta go through them and rummage through them. You'll find some gold mods there. So, anyways, today we're talking about all those assets from Switch games. How do you think they're gonna affect Smash Wii U modding scene?
I feel like it'll really help improve the quality of mods because from what I've seen with the ARMS models, they have similar texture maps that Smash Wii U uses. So instead of people having to create their own normal maps and shadow maps, they can just use them straight from the game. So if a lot of games use this kind of texture format with these different types of maps, then they can help a bunch of models just look so much better in the Smash Wii U's game. And on top of that, with them being pretty high poly, it'll just help them look better and match the art style of Smash. Because right now a lot of people are porting things from the Wii or other Wii U games which don't have quite as good quality textures and models. So a lot of mods currently stand out, but with the Switch, I feel like mods will blend in with the art style a lot better.
Yeah, definitely. It'll definitely help out with blending in with Smash 4's art style and the HD look of the game. Because, well, if you're porting something that has a higher poly, technically speaking, if you downscale the amount of polygons the model has, it's a little bit better than upscaling something, because in general, you trying to upscale assets just doesn't work out as well as some people want it to. It's kind of the same thing with video quality. You're trying to upscale 240p to 1080p, but in some cases it's going to look like trash. And when you downscale something just a little bit, it's going to, especially if you're downscaling something like from 1080p to 720p, it can look similar in a sense. It's not going to look, of course, super great, but it's still going to look comparable to the other assets in that game or in that resolution. So porting definitely from Switch is a lot better than, say, porting from the GameCube or the Wii, where you have to basically use your own imagination and update them in a way that makes it look good. Not make it look like trash. It takes a lot more effort, and that's definitely the case. And I think the Switch in particular is going to help, because Smash is a IP that's built on, of course, other Nintendo properties, and it having all those Switch assets available could technically make the game more relevant unofficially. I mean, if you're porting like Mario Odyssey skins, or say one of the levels from Mario Odyssey becomes a stage modded in, it could actually help with staying relevant, in the video game industry in a unofficial sense.
Yeah, and I feel like as Switch models get ripped and as more Switch games come out, Smash modding may advance to the point that we can do more complex character changes like we did in Project M. So we can add whole new characters, like we can put Springman in it from ARMS, or just any other new Nintendo characters that come out with these Switch games to help just make the game more alive in a way. Yes, they're all mods and they probably won't ever be used in tournaments unless they're done to the quality of that the PMDT did. Adding these new Switch characters and these Switch models could definitely help liven the Smash community a bit.
Right, considering the game is pretty much at the end of its lifespan, even though we had like a sneak patch happen, well, at the time we're recording this, yesterday. So this, I mean, yeah, you could always expect patches, but Nintendo's not going to deliver any more DLC. Goku's not coming to the game, guys. Sorry. You know, basically, the game's done. The lifespan of the game's done. And I know there's some talk about, a Smash Bros. Port on Switch or a Splatoon 2 style sequel, but those are kind of out of the realm of this discussion. Until then, to tide some of us, Smash fans over, mods actually help quite a lot, especially if you have the Switch assets, because going back to what I said earlier, the relevancy, but it's also in a sense new content you can add. I mean, once not a lot of people know this, but stage slots cannot be expanded upon, just like in Brawl, unfortunately. But once the community works towards that, we could be seeing a bunch more stage mods appearing, and you don't have to rely on going over current existing stages. So in a sense, you could port over, like, say if your favorite modder ports over a Mario Odyssey level into Smash Wii U, you could easily just load up Smash Wii U, add a stage slot to whatever, if a future tool is made in that meantime, and then there you go. You got something from a Nintendo game that just released recently, but you're still playing it in Smash Brothers.
Yeah, as time goes on and more complex mods come out and we discover more ways how to mod the game, I'm sure that it will help liven the game up. Just like Project M, Brawl died, very quickly because it wasn't that great of a game. But then Project M came around, and the PMDT, they were able to discover a lot more about Brawl itself and how the game works, and they were able to add all these cool new features and characters and just a lot of just little gimmicks to the game that made it so much better and pretty much brought back the Brawl modding community in a way. Because before 3.0, the Brawl modding community was kind of going downhill. It was starting to die off. But then when 3.0 came out with the new characters, Mewtwo and Roy, it definitely made the modding community spring back to life. So I feel like that will happen with Smash Wii U as well. It'll follow that pattern. Right now, the community has exploded since modding the game is still fairly new, and we're still just slowly discovering more and more things that we can do to the game. And the more we discover, it'll bring in more people and bring in more large-scale mods like Project M that will just keep the community going and keep the game more fun, because you can always add on new content and play new content, new characters, new stages. It's like an unending free DLC in a way that's made by the community.
Pretty much. And as we've at Source Gaming kind of pointed out, I think several discussions before, the game is built upon taking DLC. It's built on the concept of additional content, which technically speaking made it easier for the modding community. I mean, if you think about it in a sense, I mean, when you look at it, you're getting extra skins into the game. You can get free alternate costumes from places like Game Banana. I personally got a green cloud alternate costume, and I could add another slot to it. And it goes to show the framework of the game and how the community has exploded. And I think with the new Switch assets being available, that's going to definitely continue. To me, the most mods that you see on Game Banana are character skins, bar none.
Yeah, right now there's like over 3,000 character skins, and modding's only been around for a little over a year. It's insane. 3,000 skins in just a year. That shows how big and how crazy the community is growing.
Yeah, definitely. Smash 4 is a huge and beloved game by a lot of people, and the fact that it's continuing this long by the community is something to behold, because the game's inner workings are designed for additional content. But when you get people who just dig in there and figure all that out and use it to their advantage, you get something truly special. Indeed, if Smash 4 didn't have that framework, we probably would have to replace our default skins with the new skins that come out. But with the game's framework intact, we can actually add whatever we want, and to a certain extent. Again, not everything has been figured out yet, but for a new community and new assets being available. It's insane how much progress is being made.
Yeah, with the framework of the game, with how easily we can add costumes, each character can have up to 255 costumes, which is insane.
Yeah.
And it makes me think that at one point Nintendo may have planned adding more costumes as DLC, but it just never happened. But the way that it's programmed is it allows us to easily add a ton new content. You know, as I said before, up to 255, which is an insane amount of skins. But you know, some days will be enough to fill up all those slots for each character.
I mean, if you have a lot of free time, you could do that.
Yeah,
but I don't
a lot of free time.
Although it would probably take more time to choose your skin than actually adding the skins in. So that kind of goes how much you really want to add in. But
oh yeah, you'll need like a SD card that can hold like over 100 gigabytes of data on it. Just for these mods, if you want to do that many.
I mean, considering they're HD assets, you're probably going to need more than that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really insane where the community is going. And I do think as more Switch games are released, the more that... Well, first of all, I think what we need to talk about is the availability of these assets, because right now, the Switch can only be modded on version 2.1, and all those tools and all those extracted assets are kind of in a group of people. They're not really out in the open. I mean, I know recently there's been reported of Switch ROM dumps that have come out, but being able to access them without the tools you're gonna have a hard time with that. Unless you have a really handy hex editor, but it's still going to take you a long-ass time. And basically, you're going to have to go to someone to get those assets and port them over. But once the Switch modding community kind of gets out there and explodes, I could definitely see Smash 4 exploding a little bit more, because you're going to have more recent Nintendo assets. And I mean, what do you think about this, Nanobuds? I mean, do you think that the Switch is going to get broken open more and allow for the Smash community to kind of thrive?
Yeah, I'm sure. Random T Bush he's always been great at sharing his tools, and right now he's working on perfecting them, because if he releases all these tools to extract these models and they're still really buggy, he's going to just get a lot of questions from people. So he usually releases his tools once they're perfected, or mostly perfected, and have very little bugs. So right now, I know that he's still working on figuring out the texture formats used for the Switch, and I'm more than certain that once he perfects it all, he will release all his tools that he's been using, his scripts and all that, to import the models into different 3D softwares.
Right. I think what it boils down to is things take time. That is the natural occurrence of things. And I'm going to tell you something. A lot of people from the Wii U homebrew scene are going to know this, but basically we don't want another Team Salt, where you have something that leaks and then the team decides, all right, the polish that we were going to put into a product, that doesn't end up, that we're not going to complete them. And to be honest, the Smash Wii U modding scene is doing great right now. But the Wii U homebrew scene in general just kind of seems sparse. It's not as much as the Wii or even the 3DS, which is basically the PSP right now. That thing is just a train you cannot stop. And with the Switch, things are going to have to take time. And if we want those assets, I mean, we're already seeing assets available. We have the first ever Switch mod in Smash Brothers, which is Min Min. But in order for those mods to appear more, you're gonna need time. That's what I'm trying to say. You're gonna need time, and it's gonna take a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it takes time to make these tools and figure out these new model formats, these new texture formats. But once the researchers figure out how the textures are used, how the models are used, it'll be like a downhill slide. Just a lot more content's gonna start coming out really quickly. Like back with Smash Wii U, once they figured out the model formats for the Smash models, a lot of other games that share similar model formats started to become moddable. Like I'm pretty sure that Mario Kart 8 uses the similar texture formats, model formats, and they were able to rip those really easily. And now there's even mods being made for the game. It's just with the single game system, the files can be so similar that once you crack one game, you can most likely crack a lot more games besides that one.
Now, and from your perspective, which mod from a Switch game do you want to make the most?
Oh boy. Currently, I'm still waiting for somebody to find that model of Zelda from Breath of the Wild in her blue tunic. But from what they're saying, it's only a cutscene model. So, but something tells me that hopefully it'll come out in like the next DLC expansion pack, you know. But
Yeah.
that's another story because it seems like that could be like a flashback with like the champions and all that. But that's a whole nother story. But as of now, I do have plans to import Springman. I have his model and everything ready to go. It's just I'm finishing a few other things before that. But right now there aren't a lot of games that I'm overly interested in. It would be awesome to get a hand on the new Samus model for the new Metroid Prime game that's coming out. I have no idea what she's going to look like, but you bet that I'm going to try to get that model and put it in Smash as soon as I can.
Oh yeah, even though that, I mean, honestly, the game's still in development, early in development, so it's going to wait a very long time to see that model.
Hopefully by then we'll have plenty of knowledge and ways to get models from the Switch, and who knows, maybe the actual Switch itself will be more moddable by then, and we can have mods of different games.
Right, I mean, that's the thing right here, because, see, for the Wii U, we all know Fail Overflow apparently did mod the Wii U back in 2012, 2013-ish, but didn't release tools. But it took another 3 years for the kernel exploit to leak on the latest firmware. And that basically is saying something, because we thought, alright, this could be another Wii situation, but it took a little bit for Wii U modding to kind of start propping up and growing just a little bit, even where the scene is right now. The Switch, it's taken, literally, the first hacking report came out 3 months after the original console launch. And again, we all thought, alright, Nintendo has this bounty program, they're going after 3DS like ham, even though hackers are going around the code and all of that. But it took 3 months to report that, alright, we're dumping all the files, you know. You would think that, alright, Nintendo, they might have learned, but no, we're seeing all this stuff being broken open, and yeah, nothing has been publicly released. So it's still impressive that we're seeing it broken open already, and we might have the same issue that we had with the Wii U back in 2015 with all the data mining leaks and all of that. I mean, I don't know, we're seeing that again, and it's like, this early already?
Yeah, I'm sure within the next year or so there's going to be more public tools for people to use. Right now there aren't really many like games that would be like very interesting to mod at the moment, but I'm hoping for, if we get some sort of Smash Deluxe or Smash for the Switch, that it uses like the same file formats and all that as it does for the Wii U, because then we can just start modding the Switch version, just port mods very easily. But you never know, you know, Nintendo could easily patch the hacks that people are using, and especially with the Switch, I feel like the Wii U wasn't their best console, they didn't have the best sales, but the Switch obviously is one of the best consoles to ever exist, and they're gonna definitely be on top of all these hacking methods and just patching them up left and right.
Apparently, Pluto reported on Twitter, who is a well-known Nintendo modder, by the way, said that every crash that happens on the Switch is actually reported back to Nintendo servers if you're connected to the internet. So it kind of tells that they are getting a little bit serious with the Switch.
Yeah, for sure. With it being a new console, they have to protect it. They have to prevent pirating. They have to prevent the ripping of ROMs and all this, because it's such a new console, and people, if they can start pirating it, they're gonna lose so many sales.
Yup, that's the biggest, downside. I mean, if it mirrors with the PSP, what happened with the PSP, then pretty much it's game over for them. A lot of people say, oh, piracy can't tank sales, but you gotta understand something. If piracy happens in the beginning of a console's life, it will definitely impact sales. I mean, if all the new games that are coming out you don't have to pay for, who's really going to pay for them? That's the whole point. And I'm not trying to go off the radar here and go on the PSP in general, but I'm just saying, again, things take time. A lot of the modders who are working on getting the Switch modded, are making sure, you know, people don't pirate anything. I mean, when Smealum released the homebrew launcher, it was just sandboxed enough where you couldn't get you know, free piracy. So it tells you the care these modders are putting into it, and I guarantee you, once model ripping starts happening, you know, everything will be polished at that point, and it won't affect the Switch that much.
Yeah, as long as people are just using these hacks or these methods to hack the Switch to make mods or to take models, I don't think Nintendo really minds that much. But when they start pirating games, that's when they're gonna step in. Like, I feel like their patch for the Wii U that happened this past week was mostly aimed at pirators and not modders, because if they wanted to really shut down the modders, they can easily shut down Game Banana. They can easily shut down all the websites that have all these tools and stuff that are used to mod the Wii U, but they don't. So I feel like their biggest war right now is against piracy and not actual modders of games.
Definitely, I fully agree. Although, as a little off-topic thing, I will say that I think the Switch would be a very good emulation console, bar none, just because of what it is and the amount of horsepower. Oh, I'm not saying it's as powerful as like a PS4 or Xbox One. That is not the case. But for a handheld console, it's impressive. So I'm hoping the emulation on there is pretty good. That would be.
Dude, we can have portable melee. Portable melee.
Exactly, dude.
If we got that GameCube going, yeah.
Exactly. I mean, Melee's rumored, possibly, so for Virtual Console, but we'll see what happens with that. You know, Nintendo.
Yeah, you never know.
You never know. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens with the Switch. You know, when it starts getting modded, when it starts getting busted open, it'll definitely help out the Wii U modding scene quite a bit. So I'm personally hoping for a Mario Odyssey stage import. That is one of my absolute hopes. I think that'll happen. I'm hoping by that point expandable stage slots happen, but I know those things take time, and those things are actually in the back end of the game, which is the RPX file. So that's going to take a hell of a lot of time to get that working. So we'll see what happens. But do you have any final thoughts, Nanobuds?
Yeah, just as we get these new tools out to rip these models, just keep a lookout for my Twitter and Random T-Bush's Twitter and Demon Slayer X. We have plans to import a bunch of Switch models to the Wii U, which I'm sure everybody will love to have in their game.
Alright then, so, well, thank you guys for watching. Be sure to follow us on our social media pages, including our Facebook and Twitter accounts. Be sure to also support us on Patreon if you want to receive exclusive perks. Nanobuds' social media accounts will be linked in the description below, and we'll see you in the next video.